John O'Keefe goes behind Higgy Bear's back. And look at that. Look at that. As soon as John O'Keefe gets behind Higgy Bear's back, look what he does. Old Higgy Bear's pointing. And there's Karen to the left. Underneath this 55. Watch them. It's the point and boom, hair back. Point, hair back.
Defendant said he's like Christ. Are you guys hooking up? Question mark, question mark.
Liar, liar, pants on fire. Well?
Well? ...
I
think you know what I mean.
Well, what do you mean by romantic? What's the romantic phase?
Sending somebody flowers? Is that a question?
Everything I say up here is a question.
Okay.
Well, that wasn't.
I came back and I said, where did Higgins go? They said he left, correct?
Sure, yes.
I don't know if that's the verbiage I used, but I left.
Why the rush?
Because it was a long day and I just wanted to go home.
Except you didn't go home, did you?
Now that we have the police report taken by Yuri Buchanek and Michael Proctor of Brian Higgins, we can analyze what Brian put in and, more importantly, what he omitted. Because Brian Higgins killed John O'Keefe and he's lawyered up, he needs to make sure that his story is straight. John O'Keefe never came in the house, there was no contention at the waterfall, but more importantly, there was no motive for Brian Higgins to actually kill John O'Keefe. But we know at some point during the interview, he breaks down and says, you're going to find some flirtatious texts between Karen Higgins and myself. You're going to find out that we actually kissed behind John's back one night, despite the fact that I remember exactly what Karen was wearing, those F me black thigh-high boots, that white blouse, and I know exactly what type of glass she brought into the waterfall, including the fact that it was ribbed for her pleasure. I somehow forgot, guys, to tell you that I sent a text message to her at 11:32 p.m. That's just 20 minutes before I'm going to be taunting John on video at the waterfall, and that is just going to be about 45 minutes before I attack and kill John. It's 10:54 and 26 seconds. Brian Higgins is up here drinking his Jameson and ginger pretty much by himself, and that's what he did tell Yuri Buchanek and Michael Proctor during their initial meeting. As Karen and John enter the bar, you see Karen does have a line of sight to Brian Higgins. She probably does see him. However, she starts to go into her, hey, I'm having a great time, dancing mode. Let's zoom in on this closer. She starts doing that, hey, everybody look at me, or she's just excited to see whomever is there. Either way, you can't really make a determination based upon that. And this is the saddest part. John O'Keefe is about to hug the person who's going to be killing him just a few minutes later. You can see by the hugs, John O'Keefe is very subservient. He respects both these men, especially Brian Higgins and Brian Albert there. But check this out. I've never seen this before. Keep an eye on the person right next to Brian Higgins, the one that's standing up there. That is Hema Cape. She gets up on the chair and she starts clapping. She's excited. She's a little social butterfly. She's so happy that they're there. She's clapping, all excited, and that happens. There's nothing wrong with that, but that gives you an indication of the type of person and or relationship she had with John O'Keefe. She's literally giving him a standing ovation because they arrived. Now, if you look just under the 5 there in 10:54, that's Karen Reed. She's blocked out a little bit by the timeline, but watch Brian Higgins once John O'Keefe gets behind his back. Let's see what happens. Now Karen is right below the 10 in 10:54. She gives Brian Albert a hug. John O'Keefe goes behind Higgy Bear's back. And look at that. Look at that. Let's zoom in and get a better look. As soon as John O'Keefe gets behind Higgy Bear's back, look what he does. Old Higgy Bear's pointing. And there's Karen to the left. Underneath this 55. Watch them. It's the point and boom, hair back. Point, hair back. Point, hair back. Was Higgins truly ignored? That's the new theory. He wasn't. Let's look at it again. John gets behind his back. John's out of view. Higgy Bear, point. Karen, hair back and moves. You watch Karen right there, hair back and moves as they're pointing. Very interesting. That's 10:55 and 6 seconds. I was looking at it like, oh, she met with Higgins and there was no chemistry. That was my opinion. I was strong on that. But then you brought up the point, well, they already met already. It's not as if like you're meeting someone for the first time and they don't look like their picture. So then that hit me. I'm like, all right, maybe Karen was really peacocking in front of Brian Higgins.
She's placing herself right in front of Brian Higgins, not on the other side of the bar, but at one point she is literally, I think when he sends the Well text message,
Well,
she is literally to his right. So she is placing herself directly in front of him, leaping over the bar, screaming at whoever's next to her. It's sort of like he's peacocking with the fighting with Brian Albert. Well, she's doing kind of something similar. She's performing in front of him. And something bothered me for a long time. I mentioned this when I was live with the Loophole lawyer last week. Sergio De Niro did an incredible breakdown of Brian Higgins' testimony.
Higgins is stuck in this mindset where he knows the outcome of the evening and he knows that Karen Read wasn't a part of it. And so it doesn't occur to him at this point to try to incriminate her. He's more set on trying to not incriminate himself.
And that was frustrating because you were very interested in her romantically at that point.
I was attracted to her. I don't know that I would say very interested in her.
You're showing romantic interest in her.
I wouldn't say it was romantic. I was trying to vet it out.
You weren't seeing if she wanted to go see a ball game with you as a buddy, right?
Not really, no.
No, you were showing romantic interest in her, weren't you?
I was trying to vet out was her interest in me legitimate? It was very normal for me to have that question in my mind when I didn't initiate this, she did, and I think it was a fair question just to try to find out.
You were showing romantic interest in Karen Read, weren't you?
I was interested, but I don't think I was at the romantic phase.
Well, what do you mean by romantic? What's the romantic phase?
Sending somebody flowers?
Dating?
Well, there's a difference between dating and hanging out. I mean, it's kind of hard to date somebody when you have a boyfriend.
I did not feel ignored. Sergio, at that point, determines that was a truthful statement. There's body language. There's ways to communicate to somebody without actually speaking. You're going to learn right now from Sergio De Niro, from the Truth Revealed channel, precisely why it is that I couldn't believe Brian Higgins felt ignored by Karen.
When John walked into the waterfall, were you already there? Yes. Karen walked in with him. Yes. But she did not greet you, did she? I think they kind of went like in different directions. Evasion, right? This is deception. She may have greeted him, or Brian Higgins didn't want to look bad. But we got to figure out the options, okay? Once we figure out deception, we got to ask ourselves, why? Why is he being deceptive about this? So did she greet you or did she not greet you? And it would be really easy for him to say, nope, she didn't say a word to me. That's it. That'd be a perfectly straight up legitimate answer to the question. But instead he becomes evasive here, which tells me that she did greet him. He can't say no and he's being evasive. That is what this means, is she did greet him.
John O'Keefe goes behind Higgy Bear's back. And look at that. Look at that. Let's zoom in and get a better look. As soon as John O'Keefe gets behind Higgy Bear's back, look what he does. Old Higgy Bear's pointing. And there's Karen to the left. Underneath this 55. Watch them. It's the point and boom, hair back. Point, hair back. Was Higgins truly ignored?
Did she actually greet him while he was there? Because that's what the verbiage is telling us. So did she greet you? No. Right. So she walked over towards the corner of the bar and John came over and greeted you and then walked over and joined her, correct? Yes. Karen didn't stop what she was doing when she was over in the corner of the bar and come over and say hi to you. He says, I didn't have any interaction with her that night. No. Now he's choosing his words carefully here. He didn't have any interaction with her. This interaction here is in reference to the question. Karen didn't stop what she was doing and come over. And so he says, no interaction. She basically ignored you the entire evening. So he uses the word ignored. She ignored you the entire evening. And he says, that's not how I interpreted it. No, that's not how I interpreted it. So he uses he uses past tense and interpreted it is active voice. We don't have any repeating words here. We have no sign of deception here. By my own rules, I have to label this as a truthful statement. How does this all fit together? Well, nobody seems to be talking about eye contact. If you've ever flirted with anyone in your life or had any sort of a relationship with someone that everybody in the room wasn't aware of, you make eye contact. There's a lot of ways of communicating with somebody other than verbal. Higgins is telling you here, she may have greeted him. She did. They made eye contact. That's why this was evasive here. You're seeing reaffirmation of that here. That's not how I interpreted it. So they did communicate. Higgins, in his mind, he desperately wants to say, we made eye contact and communicated in a far more meaningful way than anybody who went around shaking people's hands and hugging. But he's not going to say that because that incriminates him, or that's going to open up a whole new line of questioning here.
You seem to have a problem admitting that you had a romantic interest in my client. Is there a reason for that?
I was attracted to her.
Right. Physically attracted.
I thought she was an attractive woman.
Romantically attracted.
I'm not going to go there. No, I don't agree with that.
Of course you're not going to go there because that would put you in a very awkward position, wouldn't it, sir?
Objection.
Not at all.
So that
What kind of relationship? A buddy-buddy relationship?
The same thing everybody wants, a real relationship.
Like a romantic relationship, Mr. Higgins?
It's possible.
Right. When John walked in to the waterfall, were you already there?
Yes.
He greeted you, you indicated, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Karen walked in with him,
Yes.
but she did not greet you, did she?
I think they kind of went like that in different directions.
Right.
Yes.
Did she greet you?
No. Well, just because somebody didn't come over doesn't mean they ignored you.
He's trying to be disagreeable, but at the same time, he's trying to not incriminate himself. He did not feel ignored. And he didn't get upset. It didn't upset me at all. He wasn't upset by that. And that's because they were making eye contact from across the room. They were communicating in their own way.
the truth is, he never felt ignored. And I couldn't figure that out for a long time until I went back and watched the waterfall video recently where my focus was Karen Reed. And for that, I have Loophole lawyer to thank because he was asking, where is the moment that triggers Brian Higgins at the bar from having a good time to wanting to beat John O'Keefe up? And so I went back looking for the trigger. Shouting, leaning over him to talk to the person across from him. Like, that isn't just ignoring, or that isn't sending a message that he doesn't matter. That's sending a very different message, actually. That's sending an intentional message, a message of, I want you to look at me while I ignore you. And that could even be very confusing for a man who is drunk.
But it bothered you enough to send her a text, didn't it?
No, it was a flirtatious text. It was just, that was it.
It bothered you enough to send her a text that said, with 6 M's behind it.
Okay.
And, well.
Well, it wasn't like that. It was, well.
Well.
Just, well, like a well in the ground.
I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think you do too, sir. You meant, well, when are you going to pay attention to me?
No, that's not correct.
Well, why are you ignoring me?
Or, well.
Well.
What's the deal, Karen?
When you texted her, well, at the waterfall, she ignored that text to you, correct? Well, that was the only text I sent that night to her, yes. Did she ignore the text, Mr. Higgins? And he says, I don't know. I don't know now is just, it's a different way of telling you that he communicated with her in a different way. This is missing time. I don't know means that there was an action that he's not telling you. And that action is nonverbal communication.
That could even send the message that I like you, but I don't want John, my boyfriend, to see me talking to you because he's already suspicious of the fact that I've been talking to you.
The defendant responded, John has showed me about 5 times the ring video of me walking you out on Saturday, and my voice and my accent are killing me softly, with an emoji of somebody throwing up. I responded, what?
Well.
Defendant responded, yeah, he has cameras everywhere, you cops. Defendant said, he's like Christ. Are you guys hooking up? Question mark, question mark.
Now, I know what many of you are thinking. You're thinking, but she had already ghosted him for the days before. Well, Brian Higgins is right when he says, well, not exactly. She sent him a message that said,
Have not heard from you. Phone works.
Phone works, and then an emoji with arrows going like both ways.
Thought you were all set. With talking? No.
The phone works both ways.
And maybe Brian Higgins didn't feel ignored because every single time they've been together, John's always been there. So there's always been a part where you have to fake it. And I know that situation too, where you completely ignore each other. Only on paper are you ignoring each other because the boyfriend's there.
Right there.
Right there. So she's done this before. He's done this before.
Liar, liar, pants on fire. Well?
Well? ...
Oops, apparently old Higgy Bear forgot to mention the fact that while at the bar, he sent what he calls a flirtatious text to Karen Reed, well.
Well.
Well?
She didn't respond.
After she was ignoring him.
I guess you forgot to cherry pick that one when you went to the FBI kiosk and your buddy Matt Kelch taught you how to use the machine to cherry pick the messages that you were going to bring in for your February 3rd interview, huh?
And ignored in a way that was very intentional. I was thinking about how I would behave in a drunk situation if I'm ignoring somebody outright. And then number two, the second that I see John O'Keefe with that piece of glass in his nose, the way she describes, on that lawn, the second I see that, the first thought in my head is, oh my God, I left John alone with Brian Higgins.
Brian Higgins?
And many people have that thought, especially women. As we're analyzing each frame from that waterfall video, we are realizing now the real killer,
Brian Higgins,
was right before our eyes. And we are going to figure out that exact point where Brian Higgins gets triggered and focuses his energy not on Karen Reed, but that on John O'Keefe, which eventually leads to him killing him at approximately 12:32 at 34 Fairview. But no matter what, we will never, and I'm telling you, Brian Higgins, ever stop producing these videos until the real killer,
Brian Higgins,
is brought to justice. This crime was very simple to solve because it took place within a very small area over a very short period of time with a very limited amount of suspects. One or more of these 10 people has to be the killer of John O'Keefe. That's how easy this is. Once you remove the kids and the McCabe's, you're down to just 3 suspects: Brian Albert, Higgy Bear, and Chloe. Since Chloe's a good dog, she didn't do it.
I didn't do it. I'm a good dog. I didn't do it.
So that leaves just 2 suspects, Brian Albert and Higgy Bear. But of the 2 Brians, only one had the means, motive, and opportunity to kill John O'Keefe. And that's our old cuddly but violent Higgy Bear. Once we had all the facts and didn't jump to conclusions to see how easy it was to solve this crime,